they are very slow at analyzing information to really understand what they need to do, and then they move with understanding to do it. And then another is Thomas Edison. No, Thomas Edison is the one I just mentioned. Einstein is the one who came out with the bomb, the theory for bomb, and then the theory of relativity. Thomas Edison is the one who came out with the bulb, and then the mother said it was adult. So these people are not, even if you take this gentleman, Bill Gates.
Okay.
He is also a Brown student, but he was able to read early in life. So he was reading a whole lot of materials that exposes himself to the world around him. So the school system was boring to him because his intelligence level has outweighed what he was being taught in a box.
So we are saying that such students are actually very intelligent.
Very, very intelligent. That's why the unique learning styles, over time, as you know the weaknesses of the child, you start enhancing it for the child to now come out positively and be able to understand very well how to use the brain to now get understanding of issues faster, and then they are good to go.
Mm. What if your child doesn't have a good learning culture already?
Okay.
How do you approach that?
That's where we spoke about, first and foremost, the parents knowing the unique learning style of the child, so that you don't adapt the pressure system in the school at home. Okay. Now, having known it, you need to have a timetable for learning, and you need to structure the day. So you have a time for learning, a time to play, a time to let the child revise.
So you're saying that all parents, it's important that they have a certain structure by which the child's day is segmented.
Exactly.
Why is this so important?
Okay, you see, when we are left without any system of control, we don't produce results. It is the system that makes us become effective at the end of the day. So if at home you don't put in any guidelines for the child to know that at this time I need to be reading, at this time I'll be playing, at this time I have to be watching movie, then the child would think that there's nothing at stake. And then at the time you call the child to come and learn, the child is not ready to learn. When you read my other book, it talks about critical thinking skills, how to do it, preconditioning the mind of the child. So that the child knows per the timetable that when it is 3 o'clock, it's time for learning. It's not for playing, it's not for eating, it's not for any other thing. It's time for learning. So the child has already psyched him or herself that I'm going to learn. So when the time is due, the child is relaxed within him or herself to want to learn and enjoy whatever is being taught.
Okay. For those of you who would want to send in your comments or questions via text or WhatsApp, the number is 0245 780 116. It's up on your screen, 0245 780 116. We'll later on open the phone lines, but you can begin to ask your questions rather than call in. With that, we are still in a home setting here. And there's so many destructive features around. There's a television, there is food, there's games, there's probably a younger sibling who is playing. How do you position things in such a way that the child can concentrate?
If I get it right, is it the physical
environment?
Okay.
At home, because you're talking about home learning, yes.
Yes. You don't need to do much. Just make sure that the items are not harmful for the child to go and touch. That will create any havoc. Because we don't have control sometimes per the space in which we find ourselves. Some are in single rooms, some are in multiple rooms. Therefore, if you are in multiple rooms, you can decide to allocate one room for learning and for play and for other things. But if the home is one room, then there will be a difficulty in trying to change things before because the child is at home.
Right.
So you just have to take the harmful things out of the environment for the child to feel at home and play.
Should there be a specific area designated for learning?
Yes.
Is it important?
Yes, it's a very good question. You know, when they're during the normal school system, they know that they leave home and go to school and go and learn, then they come back. So now at home, if you don't structure for them to know that you can still be at home and learn, and you just let them learn at any given point in time on the floor, and they will not take it serious. So you can have a place where you can have your small board or slate, whatever it is, a small table, and let the child know that when it is time, per my timetable for you, you have to go and sit and learn. So that becomes a structure learning, but you can also allow the child to move from the structured environment and have a free environment to transfer whatever has been learned into practice at that free space. Yes.
Should the television be off?
Oh yeah, when you are learning, the television should be off.
That's important.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Except there is a concept that is applicable to whatever the child is learning, and then that one you can switch it on for the child to really listen.
Okay. You talk about assimilating your brain, or getting your brain to assimilate it. Sometimes we look at certain children or even ourselves and we say, look, I probably can't do chew and pour. I'm not good at it. I like to paraphrase. I'm not good at math. Is it possible to help stretch the capacity of your your child so that they go beyond, or even yourself, even for adult learners? I'm sure adult learners are also picking up a few lessons. Is it possible, or your brain can just take something specific and can't go beyond that?
The brain is so rich, and at every given point in time is processing a lot of information. So you can go beyond that. You can go beyond that, but you have to train it to improve on its quality of volume of information gradually. So that if 30 minutes,
there's a concept in our society that, okay, this person is not smart. These are the backburners.
Yes.
These are the shashailos.
Yes.
You are saying that is not the case.
No, that's not the
possible
case.
to be out of that space.
Exactly. Like example I gave, Bill Gates is naturally a slow person when it comes to analyzing information. But because he was exposed to early learning, reading a lot of materials, he became so intelligent beyond what was being taught in the school system. So every child can improve very well over time. That's the truth. Every child can improve over time. So even those in the school system that we think they are intelligent, in real life they struggle.
Because it's amazing that you come out into life and you realize that a lot of the people who you thought would be doing so well.
Yes, they are not. They are not, because of how education has oriented our thinking outside our natural states of processing information. So at the end of the day, if per the unique learning style, every child is guided to think along their natural thinking pattern, it can be improved over time. So like the good students who are very hasty and make a lot of errors in their writing, you just teach that child the skill of patience in writing. Don't rush. Where are you going? Take your time, finish, and then when you finish, make sure you go back, read, and make sure you have really answered very well without your omissions available. Then go and submit it. But when we don't know that these are their weaknesses and this how to enhance their ability to improve, then you might just say that go and do correction. The child will come with another error in it. Go and do correction, and you will be beating the child, thinking that there's something wrong.
Right. You mentioned in Bill Gates' example that he exposed himself to learning a lot of things, and then he quickly picked up. So, averagely, how do you help that child to expand the capacity of their brain, their brain capacity, or whatever it may be?
Okay. So we have something called scaffolding.
Scaffolding.
Yes. Expose the child of the concept of what he has to learn gradually. So by so doing, the child, by the time you finish the whole concept, understands exactly what you are trying to teach him or her. Now, when the child sees that concept again, he already knows the process it goes through. So now he goes straight to the top and now start looking at options available to really understand and apply what he has learned already. So that's how to do to really enhance our ability over time. Read a lot. When you read, sometimes even you need to listen to your instincts. Ability to enrich your thinking pattern when there is you are not even reading. So when a thought comes to your mind, what do? You engage the thoughts by asking questions like how, when, where by so doing, you are trying to really understand what is that concept and how do you apply it. But you see, per how we are taught in the education system, we are made to believe that you have to produce one exact answer which is right. Any other answer, no matter the means, is wrong. So we are oriented to always believe that there's a perfect answer and a perfect way to life. And that goes along a way of life to really affect us, even in adulthood. But when we allow, like the brass students, they are very creative in using shortcuts to achieve results. So if maths...
So these are those who are naturally slow.
Yeah, they are very slow, but very creative and crafty in using shortcuts to still achieve the same results. So if you are teaching that child and you make the child believe that he has only one answer to give, then you are killing that natural instinct and initiative in that child.
Yeah, we have killed a lot of instincts and initiative in many children in this country.
We have. And as a life coach, I meet a lot of people. You know that this person is very great, wide with great purpose, path, ability, but parenting and education has reoriented the thinking ability of the child to feel like, as for this I can do, but I don't know how. So there's a conflict to how. So many people know what they have to do, but there's a conflict of how should I do it to really bring it to pass.
And why does that come about? Is it because somehow the will in them to do it has been killed by the system?
Exactly. The will is you have to produce one result. So you don't have the room to think outside the box to know that there's another alternative to achieving the same result.
So it's a sense that there are no other options for you.
So you grow with that understanding that you have to produce only one result. And that is right. That's why those who even paraphrase what we are writing in exams, we don't get the full mark. Because the teacher wants exactly whatever he has taught you. But if we should go by what GES and the Ministry of Education is saying, learner-centered education, then this is a time for us to get to understand the unique learning style of our children and help them grow naturally. And then you see that most of the conflict we have as adults, we will not have it when our children grow. They will not be competing among themselves, when instead they will know that we have to complement each other. Because in the school system, there's no perfect person who is more intelligent than another person. But currently, we make them believe that one person is better. And then we grade them. Grade 1 is intelligent, very intelligent, low, and average, and all those kind of things. So at the end of the day, they have this competitive attitude to believe that you can't come near my circle because I'm better than you. But if we are made to teach children along their natural thinking abilities and improve over time, what you lack, another person can complement. And then we are good to go as a society.
So you're saying that the new curriculum that the GES is coming up with is the way to go.
Yes.
However, we have teachers who have been trained in a certain manner.
Yes.
What do we do to that? Because they will be the conduits of that information.
Exactly. So there's a need for retraining. And even some of the textbooks we've been learning, look, God paused human activity so that this COVID-19 could really we could really rethink and reorder our steps again, because we have been on a path of waywardness for a very long time. Some of these materials were meant for a certain dispensation. Now there's a need for certain kind of materials that will equip us for the next generation, where we can be critical thinkers, very team working, cooperative, those kind of collaborative way of human life. That's a new way. So there's a need for relearning by teachers who are already in the system and those who are even being taught now, along how they can really understand. You see, learning is a process, it's not an event. So you don't teach a child and expect that immediately the child should understand and tell you whatever you've taught. It's a process. So engage the mind of the child to go through that process gradually to understand. And at any given point in time, the child will understand. If you look at our textbooks, most of the things we are taught in class 1, they repeat it class 2, class 3, class 4, all the way through. So why are we in a rush to let the child learn and reproduce that same thing, when in class 2 or class 3 or 5, he's going to advance the knowledge he has already.
And it reminds me of the controversial, the functions of the head, which is for carrying load, according to the textbook.
Great. But the head goes beyond just carrying loads. There is that powerful tool God has placed in every man, the brain and the mind. God doesn't reveal anything, doesn't do anything on this earth without engaging the mind and the brain of humans. So it is the brain and the mind we need to develop to avail itself to really understand and understand what must be done, not how it must be done. In other words, this is how it is done, so just do it that way. No, but give the child room to understand, and there are alternatives to still doing the same thing, and then become much better and fulfilled in life.
What do you think about our absence of practicals, or the minimal space we give to practicals as compared to theory?
It has gone a whole lot of it has gone a long way to really affect our ability to apply the things we know and bring improvement to our lives. Look, the Ghanaian is so intelligent, but it's only theory. When it comes to application, we have a challenge. Why? Because of how we are taught. We are only taught to use the brain to engage abstractly what we are taught. Even we don't allow them to really understand the process. So they just get it and reproduce it. But if we bring practice to our learning, the brass student who is very creative and imaginative will start looking at alternatives to using what is around my environment to learn. And then how I can enrich what I've seen in my environment to create something out of what is in existence for a better life or productivity. The good student who is so much a practical person than a theory person. You see, the truth of the matter is some of the courses we even study at school put us on the wrong career path. If you have a good student is more a practical person. So there are those who have to go into the engineering field, the technical field, the science fields. But we allow these people to go into the arts. And then they go and mess up in the arts. Because they are not wired for theory, but they are wired into the practical areas of life.
It looks like we still have a very long way to go.
Yes,
but
this COVID-19 has given us the room to reorient ourselves. And there's a need to avail ourselves to go through that process so that we don't come back to doing the same way we used to do things. We don't need to harm ourselves again after this COVID-19.
There's a research that talks about reading and the reading culture of people, that about 60% of people who take up books to read are only able to read up to the first chapter and never continue. And it appears that a lot of such persons are within our community. We don't even read when we see posters. Sometimes, even on social media, you see people responding to a particular issue, and you go back and realize they haven't even read the original information before speaking. I want to come to how we can improve the reading right from our children upwards after this break. This is Women's Voice. Today on the program, we're looking at strategies for effective home learning. We're all engaged in effective home learning because children are at home and parents are trying to help out. But how do we do it strategically and ensure that it is effective? My guest in the studio is CEO for Lordstone Life Coaching Consult, and he is Aaron Lordstone in Pogo in the studio. Let's take a break. When we return, I will begin to read your messages because I see a lot of messages coming in, and later on we'll also open the phone lines as well. Stay with us. We are back shortly. back. This is Women's Voice. Today on the program, we are looking at strategies for effective home learning. My guest in the studio is Aaron Lordstone Pogo, and he's CEO of the Lordstone Life Coaching Consult. We're looking at the subjects, and we said we'll look at reading. We don't have a very good culture of reading. How do we begin to get the interest in our children for us to benefit as adults as well?
Okay. Every now and then we are reading one thing or the other, consciously or unconsciously. So when it comes to children, we just need to, as I said, have a time frame where they know that this time I'm learning, this time I'm doing this. So that they consciously know that there is time to sit and engage your brain to want to read something. Now, as you keep doing that, over time they will pick the information from the book and be relating it when they are watching movies or when they are playing, and then you are bringing their minds to it. So they grow naturally understanding that.
But how do you get them to even pick the book and want to read?
No, interestingly enough, children like books. Yes, you see a very, let's say, even 2 years, 3 years. He sees a book, he takes the book, and then opens it.
And starts tearing it.
Yes, going through. So they love, that's curiosity. They just want to know what is this. So we just have to advance that curiosity to know that, okay, there's something in it. But you just have to take time to really understand it gradually.
So should we be reading with them more?
Yeah, you can read with them because that's the basis. You start with them. And then when it gets to maybe GHS, they can be on their own, or even classes or 5. But you need to read with them. That schedule is also there. And then also what you need to do is have a goal to be achieved each day or each week. And when they are reading, they just don't read for reading's sake. But you tell them that whatever you are reading, this is what I want to assess you on. So I'll come back, or at the end of the day, this is what you achieved. So you are learning ABCD. What extent should we learn the ABCD? Should you learn it to only F? So for the first week, you are learning ABCD to F. And then make sure that that whole week, you commit your time to letting the child learn that until he masters it. If you are reading, let's say, about the solar system, you don't expect that the child will take the textbook and read everything one day and understand. No, there should be an objective that you want to achieve each week. So how many solar systems should the child understand? First week, maybe you might say 4. And then the next week, you upgrade the knowledge of the person to maybe the 9 that we have. Okay. And then what are the concepts, advantages, disadvantages? You guide the child, understand them week by week. Because we are not rushing to anywhere, like the way our school system is. So at home, don't rush your child to want to read and quickly understand everything. No. Just help the child improve on his understanding gradually. Then at the end of the topic, each week you should do an exercise to really assess the understanding of the child. If you want to do it each day too, that's good.
Why is that assessment part important?
So that you can analyze whether the child is really understanding whatever you are teaching. Yes, because when you learn and without any sense of assessment, you will not even have the desire to really understand because there is nothing at stake. Yes, so there is a need for the child to know that you'll be assessing him or her, and that becomes a motivation that I need to do well when mommy asks me, and they are good to go. Then there's the other one, to do quality learning. If you know that your child can sit effectively 20 minutes and will understand whatever you are teaching, do it for the child. Because he's not yet an adult. So don't expect the child to sit down for 1 hour, 2 hours, reading. As long as the attention span is short and the child can get it, even some are complaining 2 minutes, 5 minutes, they just want to stand up and go and do any other thing. But if you understand the learning style, there's a way to treat such a child. You just have to do external motivation or deny the child what he likes best, promising that you have to do the learning before you go and get what you want. and then the child will sit.
Okay, let me take in the questions coming in. This one says, good evening, Auntie Selikem. I'm Napoleon from Budiburam. Kudos to Mr. Lordstone. Very insightful discussion. But in our educational system where one has to be promoted or repeated over a stipulated period of time, what advice will he give to teachers or parents with brass students or slow learners? Should they be constantly repeated since teachers have to finish their syllabus within a time frame?
Okay, so I don't believe in repeating a child because the truth of the matter is the concepts that we are even taught, those who even know and pass the exams, later on as adults, they go and see it somewhere and say, so is this what I was taught? But at that time when I was even in the classroom, I didn't understand. There are lots of concepts like verbs, adjectives, simple things that people at the point they were taught, they didn't understand, but just to reproduce, they got it. But if we want to change our educational system per GES prescription now, then there's a need to come to the level of the child, enhance the level of the child's understanding over time, and allow the child to go. There's a report that must come from that class that this is the weakness of the child. So the new teacher handling that child knows that I have to carry forward from where the previous class ended, and then continue until the child graduates to the next class and finishes the school system. But if we think that by repeating the child will sit up, believe you me, emotionally they are even traumatized. So it will go a long way to even make them feel like school is not good for me. And they shut their minds up, and it goes to affect their real life emotions and productivity.
Right, and so the phone lines are open. The number is 0260-969-160 if you'd like to call in. This one says, is it good to expose children from 2 years to learning from DVD materials? That's Fred from Amria here.
Yes, as long as the child is that visual type, it's good. But that should not be the main focus.
Okay.
Yes. You can add reading to it.
Joseph says, I'm enjoying the program so much. It's very educative and informative. God bless you. Philip from Tema says, what strategy is effective for learning from number 5 style students?
Okay. Repetition.
So constantly going over.
Yes.
And which category would that be in?
That's the zinc and the good students.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Repetition. Because immediately you teach them, they are able to understand, they have a short attention span, so they easily forget. But when you come, you repeat and use different learning approach, they get it and that's it. They are good to reproduce at any given point in time.
Okay, this one says, hi, Sally and Mr. Pogo. Thanks for continuing the discussion today. Learning indeed is a slow process, and teachers obviously need to try different strategies to impart skills and knowledge. I suggest that GES invites this man when developing a new curriculum. He will be of great help to the education sector. Thanks for the education. That's Jennifer from Mataiko. Have you tried engaging teachers, and on what level? Or the GES at all, and on what level? Okay, having identified the gaps.
Yes, I train teachers. We organize seminars where we engage teachers, but we don't make it compulsory. We just send the letters around. Those who are willing, they come, and then we empower them. But there is the challenge of how the system is structured. So they go back to the classroom and do the same old thing. But if GES can be involved, especially now that we have 30 minutes of learning, then you don't have to rush the child like when we used to have 45 minutes or 1 hour combined in engaging the child. So that 30 minutes, you should just do the scaffolding gradually based on the learning style of the child so that we have enough time for our children. And then the number of students per teacher should also reduce so that we don't have a lot of children in one class. Let's say 35, 40 in a class is not productive. Maximum 25, let me say 25 per teacher.
Then that will hinge on expanding infrastructure.
If that should be, because you see, education is the main driving force of development in every country. Singapore, they realize that actually we don't have anything, so what do we need? We just need to reorient our educational system and train the type of labor force that can really bring the development we need. So if we really want to change how things are done and want to move from a developing country to a developed country, then we must invest in education, make sure we get the right knowledge, understanding, and apply it to nurture the next labor force who will really bring the change we need.
Okay, so Martin Zebizi of Odoko Official Town says, Mr. Pogo, thanks so much. We are proud of you. Keep it up.
Thank you.
This one says, please, I have a 14-year-old son who finds it difficult to understand what he's being taught. He finds it difficult to read and as such produces bad exam results. What can I do to improve upon his learning skills?
Okay, so we need to know the type of learning style he fits in, and then use that approach to help him improve over time.
So the learning style, to identify that, the person would need to do what?
Yeah.
Again, if you can go over.
Okay, the learning style, as I said, there are various definitions already.
Yes.
You just need add to be specific that this person is like this, you just add the date of birth of the child. So the day plus the month plus the year, you first get 4 digits. You split them and add them again. So let's say after adding, if you get 2022, you now add it 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 2, and that will give us 6. Even after adding, if you get 2 digits after the second adding, you need to add the digits again until you get 1 digit. And then that will determine whether the child is a good student, a bright student, an iron or zinc student.
What do we do about the fear of examination, which a lot of students have developed?
Yes, but if we should be teaching the child along their natural thinking pattern, I don't think they will have fear for exams. It becomes normal to them because they understand the concept. We've given them room to learn and revise. So they get there, they know what to reproduce. And then we should also instill in children that the exams doesn't determine the outcome of your life. Yes, the exam is just to assess how you understand what you were taught. So if you are able to sit down and learn, then don't be afraid. Just go and answer whatever you need to answer, and then you are good to go. Yes. We use exams to punish students too much.
Right. You talked earlier about insults. Like if you insult a particular group of students, I think it was the brass or the iron or one of them.
Okay, yeah, the iron students.
Yes.
And the brass students.
That they will recoil.
Yes.
What are some other negative things that we do that affect learning?
When you shout on the child.
Okay, so shouting, for the shouting parents, I think you need to watch out on that.
And then when you rush the child.
When you rush the child.
When you don't have patience, you put pressure on the child. Sometimes it confuses their thought process. Yeah, so they are not able to really come within themselves to understand the process. So in that case, they will shut their mind to you and will decide that no matter what you do, they will not listen. And then the next thing is to cry, to have their way.
Another effective way of learning today is using the internet. How do we use it effectively in learning? Okay,
internet is a very rich material or resource platform. Everything we have in our textbooks, we can get it right there on the internet. And there are different authors explaining it from a lower level understanding to an advanced level. So we should have this research-minded approach to education, where we tell children, okay, after what you've learned, go on the net and just go and do research about it. What do you understand? Come and discuss it. What new information did you get? And then you give the child room to come and also tell you what he has learned. If there's any new method that is an upgraded version of what is already in the textbook, the child comes to tell you, and then you discuss it. I think that's what is happening in Norway currently. They don't have a structured syllabus they go through. They see real life issues and then they discuss it in the classroom. So you are guiding the child to be very innovative, research-minded, and application. So that you can see, what do I do to improve on this challenge I have? But education system doesn't have that. You only learn, and because we don't have room for alternatives, application becomes a challenge at the end of the day.
How do emotions play in learning?
Okay. So, you know, if a child has been beaten from home and comes to the classroom, and you're a teacher, you don't know that the child has been beaten already, has cried, and emotionally affected one way or the other, and you are teaching, it will go a long way to get the attention of the child. It will be very difficult. Okay. That's how some of the children, we just have to come to their world, just giving, oh, how are you feeling, how are you doing? And then whatever issues they have, they can even let go of it, knowing that my teacher cares about me, my parent cares about me. So emotions has a direct and indirect way of affecting our emotional state of mind to understand whatever we are learning. And then there are certain blocks to effective learning. When you are hungry, when there's no food in the tummy, you don't eat. Because the mind is so much an energy consuming mechanism. So when you are engaging the mind to think and really want to produce results, make sure that there's food in the tummy.
So the child must be satisfied before going to.
But not overfeeding. Then the child will go and sleep in the classroom.
Yes. Apart from hunger, are there any other blocks?
When you are angry, your emotions are someone has angered you, and then when you come to the classroom and you are learning, your mind is replaying whatever is happening. So your mind is not stable in the classroom. You are looking at what should I do to really retaliate. So it will affect the attention span of the child in the classroom.
Right. This one says, hello, my name is Senyu, and I want to ask that if I am a slow learner and I want to finish the topics, yet the curriculum is overloaded, and my parents are illiterates, and I don't have anyone to help me as a learner, what should I do to make learning effective? God bless you. I'm really enjoying the program. That'll be our last one.
Okay. I think in this case, you already know you're a slow learner. So build a system around you to self-motivate yourself and be reading every day. Don't wait during exam time before you go and take your book that you are going to read. No, you even confuse the information in your exams. So make it a point every day you are learning a new topic and revising the previous topic. So that by the time the exam time comes, at least you have covered more than half of the topic and you are good to go. You see, passing an exam is very simple. If the entire topic or the subjects, the topics in it are, let's say, 20, if you are able to study 15 of them very well, you are good to get your B or A. Because those that will come, you can answer them very well. The ones you can answer, you can just play around it with your normal English and you are good to go. So it's not, if you want to pass the exam, it doesn't mean that you should learn every topic in the subject before you know that you are ready for the exam. But just master more than half of the topic and you are good to go.
As we wrap up, what will be your final thoughts?
Okay. What I would say is we shouldn't go back to our normal way of teaching and learning in our classrooms and at home. Parents should not put pressure on teachers to let their children become smart in just reproducing same. But we should really relax to understand our children and develop their analytical abilities along their natural path. And then school owners should also avail themselves for retraining. How much we find it difficult to really invest in our teachers, thinking that they can leave any moment. But just get those who are willing, invest in them. At the end of the day, when you get quality output from your school, is a result of the teacher. So you can't expect that you not train teachers and still get quality. No. So we should really give our teachers the opportunity. How much will it cost? Not much. They can bring a part of the amount. You can also bring a part and then you train them. Okay. And then I also encourage parents and heads of schools to also go for the book. It helps you really understand your child very well. Where
are the books available right now? Or how do they get it if they want them?
I think currently you can only get it by calling for the
Okay, so the number to call
is 0242
0242
54 84 30
0242 54 8430 is the number. If you missed it, you can send us a WhatsApp and we'll send you the details. 0242 54 8430 is the number.
And then we have an online one on Amazon, so those who can get it from Amazon.
It's also on Amazon, and the books are How to Identify Your Child's Unique Learning Style, Effective Learning Strategies, and then Practical Tips for Effective Learning, right? Thank you so much, Aaron, for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you.
My pleasure.
It always feels like we've gone through a different schooling system. But we hope that we can really make the impact as we keep engaging with you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My guest in the studio, as we've been looking at strategies for effective home learning, has been Aaron Lodstone Pogo. He's CEO for Lodstone Life Coaching Consult and author of the books I've just mentioned. The number to call if you want a book is 0242548430. You can send us a WhatsApp message as you usually do, and we will extend the number to you. An inspirational quote comes from Brian Herbert as we wrap up, and it says, "The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice." Unquote. My name is Selike Makolachi Palu. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to the entire production team, and of course to you, our audience, for watching. Have a pleasant evening.